Hey, Jacob. Hey, Lisa. I'm really sorry about what happened last night. Kathy and I did get engaged just a few days ago, but we had agreed on keeping it a secret for now. Thank you, Leonard. To be honest, it was a bit of a bummer that our pregnancy announcement got overshadowed. I know, and I feel terrible about that. Kathy didn't mean to steal your thunder. I'm sure she didn't, but we do feel like it's something we should talk about. Yeah, we were so excited to share our news with everyone, and it just felt like Kathy didn't care. I promise you, she does care. She just gets caught up in her own excitement sometimes. We did plan a dinner party next week to announce our engagement, but I guess Kathy just got inspired by your news. We understand that, not gonna lie, it did hurt our feelings a little. We just wanted to have a special moment to share our news and celebrate with our family. I completely understand, and I'll make it up to you guys. I'll talk to her and make sure that she'll talk to you too. Yeah? We can also do a double date or something, just us four. That sounds very nice. Thank you, Leonard. That's the least I could do. My name is Lisa, and I had been married to my husband Jacob for 2 wonderful years. We had both settled into stable careers, and we knew it was time for us to start thinking about having a baby. Jacob had always been a wonderful partner, and I knew he would make an amazing father. We had talked about what our future might look like with a child, and we were both ready for the challenge. Jacob's brother, Leonard, had a girlfriend named Kathy. They had been dating for a few months, and I had always felt like she didn't like me for some reason. The first time we met, she seemed pleasant enough, but as time went on, I noticed that she would often make snarky comments or give me backhanded compliments. When the four of us hang out, I would often find myself excluded from their conversations. I couldn't quite put my finger on it, but I just had a feeling that Kathy didn't approve of me. It was like she was constantly trying to one up me or make me feel inferior. I tried my best to be friendly and engage with her, but it always felt like I was hitting a brick wall. After weeks of trying to ignore the tension between Kathy and me, I finally decided to bring it up with Jacob. He was sympathetic and listened to me as I explained how I felt. He reassured me that he loved me and that he didn't think any less of me, but advised me not to let my feelings affect the dynamic between us. I knew he was right, and I didn't want to cause any tension between him and his brother, so I agreed to try and be as nice as I could to her. From that day forward, I made a conscious effort to be friendly towards Kathy. I would invite her to hang out with me, and I would try to engage her in conversations. It wasn't always easy, but I knew that it was the right thing to do. A few months after that, I got pregnant. I was overjoyed, and Jacob was too. We couldn't wait to share the news with everyone. Jacob and I held a party to announce the pregnancy. Everything was prepared perfectly: the food, the decorations, the music, and the mood. Everyone in the family showed up on time, excited for the special night. We had invited Leonard and Kathy over too, and they even bought us a nice bottle of wine. We gathered everyone around, and Jacob started making a speech. He talked about how much he loved me and how excited he was to start a family with me. I could feel tears forming in my eyes as he spoke. When he finally announced that we were expecting a baby, everyone cheered and clapped. It was a beautiful moment, and I felt like I was on top of the world. Our family was so happy for us. Strangely, Kathy didn't seem too excited. I could see it in the way she rolled her eyes. I tried to ignore it and tell myself that she was giving that attitude to someone else. Maybe she was just tired or had a bad day. I thought to myself, but as the night went on, I couldn't shake off the feeling that something was off. Kathy seemed distant, and she didn't engage in the conversation as much as she usually did. But the night only got worse. As we sat down for dinner, Kathy made a toast and announced that Leonard and she were engaged. Everyone was surprised because they didn't expect so much big news in one night. We were happy for them, of course, but it felt strange that they didn't wait until later to share the news. Jacob and I congratulated them, and we toasted their engagement. However, I couldn't help but feel like Kathy had stolen my thunder. I had just announced my pregnancy less than an hour ago, and now their engagement seemed to overshadow it. To make matters worse, as the night went on, I noticed that Kathy was back to her old self. She was making snide comments and trying to one up me at every turn. I couldn't understand why she was so competitive with me. I thought that we had moved past all of that, but it seemed like I was wrong. The next morning, as Jacob and I were having breakfast, we got a phone call from Leonard. Hey, Jacob. Hey, Lisa. I'm really sorry about what happened last night. Kathy and I did get engaged just a few days ago, but we had agreed on keeping it a secret for now. Thank you, Leonard. To be honest, it was a bit of a bummer that our pregnancy announcement got overshadowed. I know, and I feel terrible about that. Kathy didn't mean to steal your thunder. I'm sure she didn't, but we do feel like it's something we should talk about. Yeah, we were so excited to share our news with everyone, and it just felt like Kathy didn't care. I promise you, she does care. She just gets caught up in her own excitement sometimes. We did plan a dinner party next week to announce our engagement, but I guess Kathy just got inspired by your news. We understand that. Not gonna lie, it did hurt our feelings a little. We just wanted to have a special moment to share our news and celebrate with our family. I completely understand, and I'll make it up to you guys. I'll talk to her and make sure that she'll talk to you too. Yeah? We can also do a double date or something. Just four. That does sound very nice. Thank you, Leonard. That's the least I could do. We didn't want to hold grudges. The incident left me feeling quite uneasy about Kathy, but I decided to give her the benefit of the doubt and move forward with our friendship. Kathy and Leonard's wedding was set to be in 5 months. I was excited to be there for my loved ones on the big day, but at the same time, I couldn't help but wonder if Leonard was rushing into things. I didn't want to be judgmental, but it did seem like they were moving too fast. Jacob told me that he had the same thought. He brought it up to Leonard that he was concerned if Leonard had enough time to get to know Kathy. Leonard brushed it off at first. However, I could tell that Jacob's words had struck a nerve. Leonard seemed more distant after that, and I could sense that he was having second thoughts. One day, when Leonard dropped by to talk to Jacob, he went as far as telling Jacob that he was not sure about the marriage. Coincidentally, I was at home, so I was there when the conversation took place. I advised Leonard to postpone the wedding if he was unsure. Soon enough, I found that I shouldn't have chimed in, because the consequences were far worse than I could ever have anticipated. The next day, Kathy called me and started yelling at me. She accused me of trying to sabotage her relationship with Leonard and said that I was a terrible sister in law. I was shocked and didn't know what to say. She even went as far as saying that I didn't deserve to be a mom because a mother would be so much more supportive of her loved ones. I was hurt and confused. I hung up the phone before she could insult me any further. I told my husband about what had happened, heartbroken and deeply offended. Of course, my husband took my side and texted Leonard to set the record straight. Later that day, Leonard had to call and apologize again. He said he never told Kathy that he talked to us about it, but he asked her to postpone the wedding right after coming back from our place. So she just automatically blamed it on me. He said that she then had a mental breakdown, so he would go ahead with the ceremony to avoid hurting her even more. I didn't agree with the way he handled it, but I learned my lesson. I decided that it might be best if I just kept my opinions to myself. Despite the tension with Kathy, I still showed up at their wedding because I really cared for Leonard. Plus, I could never put my husband in such a tough spot by not attending. As I arrived at the reception, I was greeted by the sight of all the tables, beautifully decorated and marked with personalized place cards. However, I soon realized that there was no assigned seat for me. I quickly looked around for someone to help, but my husband was at the wedding party, leaving me alone to deal with this situation. I was slowly making my way through the crowd, feeling more and more uncomfortable by the second. As I got to the back, luckily my in laws managed to get me a chair last minute. To be honest, it was the least pleasant wedding I had ever attended. I could barely see anything and even missed out on some family photos because my husband couldn't find me. It was also incredibly inconvenient to move around. I was 8 months pregnant at that point, after all. As the reception continued, I tried my best to enjoy the festivities, despite being uncomfortable and unwanted. However, things took another turn for the worse when Kathy, clearly intoxicated, started dancing really close to me and ended up spilling drinks on my dress. Everyone was taken aback and she was apologizing profusely, but I could tell that her apologies weren't sincere. I tried to brush it off, but it was becoming increasingly difficult to tolerate her behavior. Eventually, I excused myself and went to the bathroom to try and clean up the mess on my dress. Kathy followed me into the bathroom, and I could tell that she was still drunk and angry. I realized that I had to confront her right there and then. Kathy, can we talk for a minute? What do you want, Lisa? I thought I made it clear that I don't want you here. I just want to know why you're treating me like this. Did I do something to upset you? Upset me? You ruined my life, Lisa. You don't deserve to be here, and you know it. I don't understand. What did I do? You have something that I can never have. You're pregnant, and I'm sterile. I will never be able to have children, and here you are, waltzing in here with your big belly, acting like you're better than me. Kathy, I had no idea that you were going through something like that. I'm sorry. Sorry? Sorry doesn't fix anything, Lisa. You don't know what it's like to want something so badly and know that you can never have it. I understand that, but it's not my fault, and there are other options like surrogacy or adoption. I don't want to hear about any of it. This is my wedding day. I'm supposed to be happy. Stop stealing it away from me. Kathy, please listen to me. I'm not trying to steal anything from you. I'm just trying to live my life just like you are. No, you don't get it. You're always stealing that attention away from me. You're always the one who gets the praise and the admiration. It's not fair. Kathy, I'm not trying to do that. I'm trying to listen to you right now. Can't you see? All I see is you flaunting your pregnancy around, acting like you're better than everyone. You're just trying to make me look bad. That's not true. I was just struggling to find a seat a moment ago. Well, what does it feel like not having what you want for once, huh? You always get what you want, don't you? You always get the guy, the job, the life. And for what? Just because you're pretty and perfect? Kathy, that's not true. I have worked hard for everything I have, just like you have. Listen, Kathy, you're drunk. Let's not talk about it right now. Freaking nonsense! Get the hell out of my face! Pain shot through my body as I hit the ground, and for a moment I couldn't breathe. I tried to get up, but the floor was slippery, and I kept slipping back down. It was like my body was betraying me, refusing to cooperate. I heard Kathy's footsteps running towards the door, and I tried to call out for her, but she disappeared, leaving me lying there alone. I started yelling as loudly as I could for help. It was then that I heard the commotion outside, footsteps running towards me. A few seconds later, a group of friends rushed in to help me. It was then that someone screamed, "Her water broke!" which immediately alarmed everyone else. My family and friends rushed me to the hospital right away. The news traveled fast. Jacob found me in just a few minutes and stuck by my side for the rest of the night. Most of my in-laws also followed us to the hospital shortly after, including Kathy. As I was having so much pain, I could still hear Kathy's voice outside of my door. She was intoxicated, still wearing her reception white dress, but had ruined her makeup with tears. She barged into my private room like an insane person, crying and screaming as if she was the one who was about to give birth. I was sick of her behavior, but I knew there was nothing I could do. I left it for Jacob to handle her. I turned to him and mastered all of my strength to say, "Babe, she was the one who pushed me in the bathroom and left me there. I could have been in danger." As Jacob's face slowly turned from worry to pure anger, drunk Kathy was still on a rant about how miserable and mistreated she was. "I can't believe it. Why did you have to ruin my wedding day like this? I mean, of all days, you had to choose this one to give birth? It's like you did it on purpose, just to steal the attention away from me. My guests are leaving. The decorations are wasted. And worst of all, my husband is upset. I mean, how could you do this to me? You deserve this. Wait, Jacob, let me go. Stop pulling me like that." My husband literally dragged her out of my room as Leonard ran toward the door and helped him take control of her. I had never seen someone acting so crazy in my life, but I had bigger things to care about. My baby was about to be born, and I was not going to let Kathy ruin it. I knew that labor could be painful and scary, but luckily Jacob was there to make sure I was safe. A few hours later, I gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. She was tiny and fragile, but she was perfect in every way. We named her Adora, which means beloved in Latin. It was the perfect name for her, and I knew that she would be loved and cherished by everyone who she met. As we gather around to celebrate the new arrival, I couldn't help but feel a sense of sadness for Kathy. Her jealousy and bitterness had caused her to miss out on this beautiful moment. There would always be consequences to everything. Shortly after that day, Leonard divorced Kathy as he was unable to deal with her toxic behavior any longer. The rest of our family also learned of her behavior towards me, and they were all disgusted by her selfishness. We cut contact with her for good. On the bright side, we were overjoyed to welcome little Adora into our lives. She brought us so much happiness and love, and we knew that we would do everything in our power to give her the life she deserved. In the end, everything worked out for the best. We had a beautiful daughter, and the whole family was able to come together and support each other through both the happy and difficult times.